Sean Fluharty is a Democratic delegate from Ohio County. He read the piece, heard about it, and top of his head blew off, and he joins us on Metro News Talkline.
Good morning, Hoppy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So what's your pushback on Senator Carmichael?
Well, Senator Carmichael is absolutely clueless, as I think we all know, especially when this issue in particular, the economic impact. You would think as Senate President he would actually want to keep jobs in West Virginia. Senator Carmichael is advocating for elimination of 1,700 jobs in West Virginia, 1,100 of which are in Northern Panhandle, 66 kennels, produces a payroll of $4.6 million. That money is spent in West Virginia. Families raise their children here in West Virginia. They attend our schools. They attend our churches. And he's saying, no thanks, you're not good enough. He wants to close the door on it. He says it's inhumane. 95% of all dogs are adopted from the greyhound industry. How many are actually adopted in our shelters locally, Hoppy? I mean, he's just out here spewing a bunch of nonsense, which he likes to do, and we know really who's behind this. It's Gray 2K. They're the lobbying group. And who happens to be one of the main lobbyists for Gray 2K? Conrad Lucas, the former GOP chair. Hoppy, we know what's going on here, and it has nothing to do with good policy. It's all about politics.
Sean, would you concede, and look, I understand you being an advocate for a local business. I get that. Would you concede, though, that the numbers indicate this is a dying business? Look at the number of tracks. I mean, Florida's shutting down. That was the big one. They had 6 tracks taken out of business. Arkansas is having that debate now. After Florida, only 6 tracks left in the country, 2 in West Virginia. Don't the numbers indicate the business is dying?
Not locally. And that's where Senator Carmichael should be concerned. In the state of West Virginia, wagering has increased in the past year from $107 million to $112 million, a $4.3 million increase during that time, Hoppy, which indicates that this is an industry that's growing in West Virginia. And the reason for that is, yes, nationwide it is declining. We're one of the few states left. So I always hear Carmichael preach about how we need to make West Virginia more diverse and give incentives for reason to come here. Well, they are coming here in the greyhound industry because we are one of the few left. And once Florida shutters its doors, guess what? They're actually going to come north. We're used to people heading south from West Virginia. We have an opportunity for people to come north from Florida. So I completely disagree with his assessment. And I think not because of where I reside and where I represent, because facts and evidence show that it's a growing industry. And if we actually were good at policy making and being good representatives of the people, we would be driven by facts and evidence.
Sean, a couple of things.
Carmichael is not.
You correctly cite the Racing Commission figures show an increase in the amount wagered at the dog tracks from $107 million in 2016 to $112 million in 2017. I actually wrote about that some months back. A couple things about those figures, though. And this is from the Racing Commission, only about 13% of the wagering is done at the state's 2 greyhound tracks, Wheeling and Mardi Gras, on races at those tracks. The largest portion, 73%, is what's called the export handle, wagering that is done at out-of-state tracks or casinos on races at West Virginia tracks and the rest. So there's not, only a fraction of that is betting on the dogs that are racing at those 2 tracks. Does that change your perception of this?
It does not, because at the end of the day, we're still getting a percentage of the take for the state of West Virginia. In fact, the percentage of the take for the greyhound industry is actually greater than it is for the thoroughbred industry in West Virginia. Is he lining them up next? Is that the next one up? I mean, how many times we have to go through this, Hoppy? We just did it 2 years ago. The governor, and you know I disagree with the governor on just about everything.
I do.
But the governor, to his credit, the governor did the statistical analysis, realized he didn't want that on his conscience. He didn't want to lose 1,700 jobs, lose 66 kennels, $4.6 million in payroll, lose $2 million in tax revenue on a yearly basis, and realize that this was nothing but a propaganda-fueled machine, which we've seen take place. And at the end of the day, if we want to do what Florida did, last time I checked, Hoppy, the people of Florida voted, right? It wasn't political maneuvering by the Senate President of Florida. The people voted. Is that what he's advocating for now?
Hey,
to put
Sean,
it in the hands of the people?